It is Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, just a couple minutes past 7 p.m. This is episode number 189 of the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. And with that, I would like to say hello, everybody, and welcome to the aforementioned Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by our lovely hostess, the Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Hi, folks.
We would also like to say hi to people who join us in our Discord. We appreciate them. We would also like to say hi to @Levi Oki Illustration for all the beautiful art he's supplied to us over the years. Provided, maybe. And then, Josh, I would also like to say an extra special hi to you, sir. How are ye there?
Well, feeling extra special after that extra special hi.
Yeah, you should be, brother.
Yeah. How are you, Gar?
I'm good. I was gonna post this earlier in the chat, but then I refrained, like in the Greasy Fucks chat. But today's been a long day for me, so if I'm a little loopy and a little bit more off or sound more stupider, maybe more Ricky-esque than normal, it's because the Ranch had his second hip surgery. He's down 0-2 in the hip versus life battle. The Ranch has now lost both his hips to life. But the procedure went well. His spirits are high. He's staying at Mercy overnight. But I had to get up. This man woke me up at 4:10 this morning because we had to be at the hospital at 5 a.m. And I think that might be a crime. Once Governor Walz gets this vice presidentship, I'm going to start writing him some strongly worded letters to see if we can do something about this fucking nonsense, dude. Because being at Mercy Hospital at 5 a.m., that has... And I took the day off of work, of course, but that has fucked up my day. That's of course I didn't go to bed at a reasonable time, because why would I? But yeah, the Range got surgery. I'm super loopy tired. Probably shouldn't have even driven home. I wonder how legally drunk I am the equivalent of, but here I am. I ate some leftover pizza, so we're thriving, and a chocolate chip cookie. But Josh, you gave a very short answer, and I can see you're working right now, but please tell me a little bit more. You said Asher's having a tough bedtime before the show. Anything else happen exciting or eventful in the past week for you?
Well, last night we had softball. We had our only late game, so 8:15, 9:15, and most times, I'm pretty excited to play some softball, but it was windier than Chicago, and it just didn't make it for very fun. We lost both games, makes it for even less fun. I got dirt in my eye, so I had to adjust that when I was playing shortstop. Depth perception is required to play that position. So I made one good play.
I played first base all summer, and I didn't have any goddamn depth perception, sir. Anyways, continue.
Well, so I made one play, got dirt in my eye, and tried to make a couple more. I probably looked like, I probably looked like Ray Charles out there trying to catch a fish with his bare hands because it was bad. And so I went, Brad, get out here. Went out, took my contact out to see if I could see what was on it, and then I was going to pour some water on it. Big gust of wind took that little piece of whatever off my finger, out of the dugout, and I just kind of watched it go. I found it on the sidewalk, managed to get some water on it, put it in my eye. Not sure if it's the smartest thing, but whatever. Still wearing it.
All right. Well, are you going to be out of softball now with that cornea? Cornea, is that the right word? Cornea injury? You going to be out 4 to 6 months or what?
Nope.
Oh wow! So you're like real tough.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was kind of the big thing for the last 24, 36 hours, whatever you want to call it. Other than that, celebrated Nikita and Bob's birthday on Saturday, so we got something sweet cake, which is delicious, plus homemade pescetti sauce, and that was delicious. And then Sunday I watched football most of the day, and then cried for the remainder most of the day, and then
How exciting! All right, well, Josh. Glad to know you're doing okay. I hope you guys had a good birthday weekend. Sounds like you did. The only thing I'm disappointed in, and I don't know if Nikita's like a big cheesecake person or not, but I'm disappointed that you got something sweet cake and not you didn't go to Carrie's Cheesecakery, considering how often I've plugged them. But I understand.
She is not the biggest cheesecake fan. She'll eat it, I think, if it's given to her. But
Why'd you marry her?
I mean, I like cheesecake, but it's not necessarily. I'm a classic. I'm just give me one of them log Dairy Queen ice cream cakes, cut it in half, split the one half with everybody else, and give me half, and that's my happy birthday cake.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, but Gar, what about what? Oh no, we're already into the segment that I just made up, and I'm still working on other things. Gar, vamp.
Oh, Josh, I would love to vamp. Let's go ahead and let's talk about tacos from Taco Bell. Today on 10/1, Taco Bell was releasing 1 of 10 tacos per hour, including things like a cheesy gordita crunch, a chalupa, anything that was taco-esque or taco shape. Once per hour, they would release it to get it to be able to purchase it for $1, and it was quite the deal. I almost snaked some on the way home, but then I got distracted before I left the hospital, and then I would have had to wait another hour. And actually, the cheesy gordita crunch just dropped at 7 o'clock, which is like primo. If you want to get a thing for $1 at Taco Bell, you should make it the cheesy gordita crunch. But yeah, on this Taco Tuesday, October 1st, I was not able to acquire my $1 cheesy gordita crunch, and I'm sad about it.
Which actually just kind of works out. I don't know if you made all of that up. If you did, impressive. But
everything I just said is 100% real.
I had no idea that was going on, and I just figured, it's Taco Tuesday. What taco moves did you see in real or fantasy football this weekend?
It's obviously not actually a taco move, but it felt like a taco. I felt like a taco playing. All right, Josh, let me just go through. Let me pull up the guillotine site because I was eliminated. Spoiler alert for the next segment. I was eliminated from Jordan's guillotine league this past week, or just this from the last week. Let me see if I can quickly get my roster up here, and if not, I'll just fuck off. But sorry, this is not very good for the show, but all right, here we go.
Well, go ahead.
I got it. So Dak Prescott did fine. He got me 16 points. Breece Hall, 3.8. Quentin Johnson, 2.3. Keenan Allen, 4.9. Ramondre Stevenson, 8.2. James Cook, 5.8. I mean, come on, team. What are we doing here? I'm disappointed, my squad.
So you're a taco?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I feel like a taco starting Breece Hall or Quentin Johnson or James Cook, but apparently those were taco moves this week. I didn't even crack 55 fantasy points in that goddamn guillotine league. So those are my taco moves, I guess, starting good players and getting chopped.
My taco move is probably starting Brady Narvison, who is...
Who?
The kicker for Green Bay. Shocker, they actually have a kicker. That wasn't just some random fan that won a lottery and got to go out there and kick during the game.
I thought that was some sort of like corporal punishment. I thought that was like a community service thing from the local Green Bay prison system.
It should have been, because going back, he had 9, 10, and 13. I think he was like a top 10 kicker in our league, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just plug him in because they'll get close, kick some field goals. He's he'll miss one. No, he missed two. The first one when it doinked off the crossbar. That's just kind of every time you hear that noise, the dong of it hitting the crossbar, that's just an alarm for every person watching. He's gonna miss the next one as well.
Oh no!
Everybody knows it, and so I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, is it possible to delete a player from my starting lineup after a game has started? Because it would have gotten me more points than if I actually left him in, because he finished with -2. So I'm a taco. Sticking with the taco theme, Miami is it's south. It's kind of close to Mexico if you're bad at geography. Are they the taco of the NFL now?
So I generally the only game I got to see this weekend was the Vikings-Packers game. I would have to assume the Dolphins lost based on your tone. What happened? Like what makes Mike McDaniels or the taco of the league?
Well, I mean, it's just they went out there and they lost to Tennessee, and Tennessee, Tennessee is terrible. Like, it's right there in the first few letters of the name. But I think Will Levis went out there and he threw an interception. He only had 4 pass attempts before he got hurt, and he had an interception in that. and then he got hurt, and then Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, came in and still managed to lead them to a victory over Miami. I think that every time I check like the Gamecast, because I was at softball having my contact blown all over, every time I checked the Gamecast, it was Devon Achane, -1 yards, 4th and 1. Tyreek Hill, 4th and 1, no gain. And it's just like, oh boy, this is kind of a brutal thing. And then you put that on top, you put the bow on top when you get not Kelvin Ridley, you get Tony Pollard rushing it in for the super important 3-score lead with less than a minute left in the game, which I thought was just kind of funny. It's like, see here, McDaniels, this is how you score against a team that's already lost. Shout out last year, week 3 versus Denver. But yeah, so I don't know. They're just falling apart at the seams, it seems. And, I'd rather have Christian McCaffrey, who's not going to play a snap this year, than Tyreek Hill or Devon Achane. So, send me your trade offers, people.
You're stupid. Well, that's what I love about you. Okay. That's unfortunate. I mean, again, I don't know that I necessarily had them going this bad. I recall back to my 272, and I did have the Dolphins falling off, which genuinely makes me so sad, because I do really love what Mike McDaniels was trying to do. And I don't know if it's just like his scheme or his style of coaching is just really bad, is like genuinely just not good, or if they're just getting really unlucky with Tua, or if it's a personnel issue and the GM isn't helping him, because like we all know, like the top line players, like the marquee players of Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane these days, and Jalen Waddle, but I don't know if like their linebackers are trash, for example, or if their O-line and D-line are trash. Like I don't know what the rest of the roster looks like. So, but that makes me sad, because I rode so hard on the Dolphins the past couple of years. So, oh well.
Well, yeah, I had them going 10-7, and they need to win out essentially to get that.
We'll see what happens. Maybe they can turn it around, or maybe they'll take Bryce Young and then make him a superstar. But okay, so that was your taco of the week. Anything else you want to do in this Taco Tuesday segment, Josh? You literally just made up.
Nope, it's good by me.
Let's move on, Josh, to the weekly recap, and I want to get mine out of the way first, even though I was just talking a bunch. For those loyal listeners, they know that I've been talking about how, despite going 6-2 the first 3 weeks, there was trouble a brewing below the surface, because using the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated, it was telling a different story, a more worrisome story. And the law of averages came this week, Josh, and the law of averages fucked me. No lube, dry, no dinner first. The law of averages fucked me. I went 1-7, getting literally only one in one league, and in out of the 2 guillotine leagues I played, I got chopped in one of them. Okay, I did pretty good in the other one, but yeah, I got fucked hard. Going 1-7. If I were to have played every team this week, I would have gone 34-67. And the one league I did get a win in, I went 4-7. So that was still a lucky win. So maybe I should have gone 0-8. My overall record, as they're displayed in the leagues right now, is 19-13 between all my teams. So that's a 60% winning percentage roughly, or 59.4, I guess. But if I were to play every team every week, I'd be 224-192, which is only a 53.85 winning percentage. So despite the fact that I looked flashy up top, things are starting to come back around, Josh, and it is not good, and I am not happy about it. On to you,
Sorry to hear that, Gar. Tell me if you've heard this story before.
No.
This week I went 3-4.
You're consistent.
For the 4th consecutive week. Now, I will say, if I go 3-4 for the rest of the entire season, and these 3 leagues are the ones that I continue to win in all the way through the playoffs, and I just win out in the playoffs as well, I will be one happy camper. That I will accept. But 3-4 is kind of the story here. Lost to Victoria's Secret versus the median, and against Tyler, who was the big scorer this week. He had Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, who he got in a trade for just Jerry Jeudy at this point, because Anthony Richardson is literal hot garbage, and that's actually an insult to hot garbage, because at least that can provide warmth to homeless people. Yep. But then I also lost in the Hidden Oaks redraft and against the median. Shocker there. Even though I was playing the Dumpster Fire Part 2, who had like 150 points for the second straight week in a row.
The North Dakota wind chill is back, baby.
Yeah. Nope, I got that chill. That chilled me to the core. But I did win and deflate these balls and kept that streak going. So that's 4-0. My only positive light is that dumpster fire of a team. I have no idea how I keep winning, but you guys have let me win 17 consecutive games in that league. So thank you.
You're welcome.
It's like a silent make-a-wish. Like, I don't remember making this wish, but it's coming true. I will say Kenneth Walker contributing for over a quarter of my total points probably has something to do with that. And then also going up against the aforementioned Anthony Richardson at quarterback. But Josh Allen only put up 2 more points than Anthony Richardson. I won in the Champs Branch Out League in a dominating fashion. I'm the first team to put up over 200 points this year in that league. So just get the inscription on the trophy ready. Even though, at this point in time, I'm not in the playoffs because Overlord Gar has determined the top 2 in each division and then puts the 4 best teams in a division.
Let's hang on just a second. My brain can't process fast enough, but I know I want to stop you. Hold on.
And then I just go,
sir. Okay. All I have to say is the league. You literally sat there and watched me spin that fucking wheel. I don't know how many times we spun that wheel, but it was probably over probably over 60 times we spun that wheel.
I think that was only just for draft position. I'm pretty sure you came in with the determined.
Josh, you watched every single wheel spin for both the draft position and the divisions. You sat there and you watched it with your own fucking eyes, and then doing that, we came up with 3 different options, and then the league voted for the 3 different options. So if you want to sit here and say that I'm somehow manipulating things against you, you hate democracy and you want more dictatorship. That's what I'm hearing, because democracy is what fucked you.
Well, we can agree to disagree. No, I know. That's just kind of the running joke because Walters needed a, explain like I'm 5 type situation on that. It seemed, because of Jack saying that everybody in our division's in the playoffs at this point. But yeah, so my other win came against the former champion in Hidden Oaks Dynasty, Derek, who started off 0-4. So a chance of a repeat is unlikely in that league.
Poor Derek.
So that's fun. Yep. I'm also just hanging on to the playoffs in that league, even though 4 weeks in, plenty of time. Just hanging on, but I have the most points for, so that's fun.
Ladies.
Using the intellectual property of Joshua Allen Bunker Incorporated, I actually did pretty solid this week, despite only 3-4 yet again. 37-16 against everybody. 2 clean sweeps in the deflate these balls in Champions League. So my win percentage for the week was 69.81.
Nice.
So just against the league, or with the leagues, I'm 12-16. 42.86 win percent. Versus everybody, 94-74. So a little bit better, 55.95. But that is definitely being carried by, well, I guess I can't say definitely because I do have an 0-11 week in the Champions League. But yeah, never. Oh, was the math wrong?
You're just missing a set. You're missing the bottom one. So you got even more wins. And also, I don't know why you're fucking off a cell. This is bugging me.
Yeah, it's bugging me too. But, math. Yeah, so we'll see. So a lot of salt coming around the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah. Gar, what's next on the agenda?
I believe it's your dogs and logs.
It's one of my favorite names, the dogs and the logs. So I picked out 5 dogs this week, likely guys in starting lineups. At least I think the only kind of outliers here are Kenneth Walker. I think he was only started in like 55% of leagues after coming off of the injury and going up against, I think, the number 1 rush defense in Detroit. And then Jaden Reed was only started in like 60% of leagues as well. But dogs of the week, if you had Derrick Henry, you most likely won 76% of the games that or 76% of people who started Derrick Henry won their matchup. As somebody who went against Derrick Henry in 3 leagues, I can attest that is true. Nico Collins is another individual. 73% of people who started him got a win. Fact. I had him in a league and won. Kenneth Walker, 72% of people who started him got a win. San Fran D, 71%. That is kind of a huge factor there for a defense to have that much win or contribution to a win. And then Jaden Reed with 67. He yet again shows that with Jordan Love hucking the pigskin, he is kind of a must start, I would say, even if Jordan Love hucks the pigskin to the wrong team a handful of times. The logs of the week. Just the duty droppers. Anthony Richardson graces his presence yet again on this list. 55% of individuals started him, and only 35% of them won. Rome Odunze, you could say that he is Dunze for the year, with 67% people starting him, only 36% won. Rashee Rice, very unfortunate injury at the hands of the sniper known as Patrick Mahomes. 97% of people started him, got a solid 0 points out of him, I believe. And then only 37% of people who started him got a win. Zay Flowers, Al, I believe, is currently Googling how to tie a noose because he had Zay Flowers in a starting lineup and needed, I think, 1.5 points from him. Total 1.5 points. And Zay got 1. And so 37% of people who started him got a win. And then Calvin Ridley, only 57% people started him. And if you did, only 37% of you got a win. So you stink.
Dang. That's I think these are interesting. I appreciate when you bring them to us. I think it's nice to know who's kind of carrying the season. It would be interesting to see this, like, after it's been 4 or 5 weeks. It'd be interesting to see, like, what, how many wins one player can account for over so many weeks, Anyways.
Yeah, I think they do that because I do get it from a website, and I think that they actually run that number near the end of the year. They do have, I think, like the most dominant quarterbacks in fantasy this year. And Jaden Daniels and Baker Mayfield, I think, are the top 2.
Shout out to Baker, dude. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, me too. I love Baker. It also just fills me with joy to know how badly the Browns have done after getting rid of him.
All right, Josh, are you ready to talk about some fucking player exchange?
Sure. But I do think that
Sorry, Josh, the market was opening. You were saying?
I do think we need to acknowledge the elephant in the room that Walters got a victory in the Deflate These Balls League. Whether or not that was intentional is one thing, but I am sure that the champagne that he popped last night was very delicious. Probably a little stale from sitting around for however many years it's been. But congrats, Walters.
Congrats, Walters. All right, the market is open, and before I get into it, I'll be honest. I don't know that I'm going to do an update quite this extensive every week because this is a lot of player points per game. This is like a lot of data entry. So unless Josh and I split duties on this, which I'm not going to require him to do, I'm not promising to give an update that this extensive every week. So, anyways, Josh, I did not put out a call for people to do a bunch of transactions prior to the show today, but Bradley had some anyways. Bradley was on the ball. Bradley, he wanted to buy Kareem Hunt for 10.5, and then he sold Ezekiel Elliott, Carson Steele, and Chuba Hubbard. He was able to make a profit on exactly 2 of those players. Both Carson Steele, does that 6x his money? He went from 0.35 to 2.17. So, I mean, that's a pretty good ROI percentage. And then Chuba Hubbard, he was able to gain about 2 points. So Brad, but then he lost 3 points on Ezekiel Elliott. So it is what it is. And then I also made some purchases today. Just tried to grab some low-hanging fruit, and then I also made some sales. I sold Taysom Hill for roughly double, sold Malik Willis for roughly double, and sold Jordan Addison for roughly double of the initial purchase price, all from 2 weeks ago. I did nothing last week. But what people will really care about is how they're doing in this little game we have created. And Josh, I was able to, through all the data entry, put together a little leaderboard for at least just this point in time. And right now, based on both portfolio value combined with cash, Brian is in first place. He has a cash balance of points I can tell how drunk I am. 17.74, and his portfolio is valued at 110.56, so that's a total of 128.3. Josh, you are nipping on his heels, less than 2 points per game away from Brian. You have almost double his cash balance at 30.16, and then your portfolio is at 96.32. So Brian has more money in the market, which could be his greatest strength or his greatest downfall. Only time will tell. In third place is Gar. I have 118.96 combined value. I have the second most cash on hand with 47.15, and then I have the third least valuable portfolio with 7.81. But being in third place feels pretty good. Al's right behind me. He's at 117.08 with his about 19 cash on hand, and then his portfolio value is about 97.85 between all his players. Brad in fifth at 106.14. Walters has the most cash by far, so maybe he's just hoping the market fails. He is hoarding with $73 there, and then his portfolio is by far the worst, of course, because he hasn't spent much. But maybe ultimately this is the best for him. Or wait, no, am I fucking up Walters and Brad? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Brad has the most cash on hand. And then Walters is in last place with only 104.08. His cash is 44. His portfolio value is about 60. So I'm sorry I fucked up Brad and Walters there. But Brad has the most cash on hand and the smallest portfolio. But he is not in last place. Walters is in last place with less cash and a slightly more robust portfolio. Josh, do you have any transactions on your mind here? As you sit here and look at this, you can look at both the exchange leaderboard sheet, and then also I updated everyone's PPG for just this week. I wish I would have had it for last week, but I got too much shit going on. I got a wedding each weekend for the next 3 weekends, so I am busy.
Nope, I got nothing to add.
Nothing to add? How do you feel like you're gonna do?
I don't know. I haven't paid attention.
Okay, well, I'm glad to see how invested you are in the game we made. But right now.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, now you have something to say. Go for it.
Here. Yeah, I'm trying to look here. So it looks like if I were to sell Darnell Mooney, I'd be losing money.
You could make some money on Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, but that's not worth it right now.
12 cents.
I could make some money on Joey B. Yep. No, I'm just looking at it. I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do good. I think I'm gonna beat everybody. I'm gonna kick their butts, make them cry, go wah 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 all the way home.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes because I think Al did make a good point of buying players at their PPG, but then selling them based on whatever the last week's score is. So trying to really capitalize on a good score, but we'll just have to see how the game continues to go. And since it's not for money, I don't know how invested people will be, but who knows? All right, but that's your little update.
Currently invested for about 57 PPG.
There you go. But yeah, so far, at least out of the gates, as the averages continue to be volatile in these first weeks, Brian, who just fucking sprayed and prayed all his points into the market, he's in first place. So far, it has paid off. If he continues to hold and that portfolio goes down, we will see. Brian is usually on top of getting me his buys and his sells, so we'll see what Brian has to say by tomorrow. Again, you can only trade on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from midnight to midnight. So for those 48 hours, but yeah, I think it's a fun little deal, and I made a couple more purchases this week that I hope net me some points. Oh, there's Brad. What's up, Brad? What's it like having the most cash? Get your money in the market, you little bitch. Josh, the one thing what's that?
I said, okay, Gar, I'm Brad.
That's exactly what Brad sounds like. The one thing we didn't talk about, Josh, and we should have talked about it earlier, but we didn't, and that's our fault. But I blame my sleep deprivation. We did not talk much more in depth about what everyone witnessed and what our fans will love to hear, both my and your perspective on, probably mostly yours, because they all have their own, probably similar perspective. How did we feel about the border battle on Sunday?
Was there a water balloon fight?
There could have been.
I would think that it was because Jordan Love kept throwing it at the wrong colored team.
Oh no.
No, it was one of those, like, in the first half, I was sitting there and I'm just like, I wonder how much it costs to buy a one-way ticket to the northern part of Canada. Um, because I could currently use a getaway. But second half rolled around and the team fought back, lost by 2. Some would say that's because they were doing prevent. No, I mean, they may have started doing that, but they definitely weren't when it came down to it, because there was still like 6 minutes left when it was a 1-score game, and then get a first down on a nice pass Jaden Reed, and then I don't know what Jordan Love was doing. He just decided, let's just throw a deep ball because we can with 6 minutes left. Nope, we should have just dunk and dive. No need to do that. So that was unfortunate. I will say one of his interceptions was not his fault. It went off Tucker Kraft's and I think Dobbs or Wicks's hands and into the Vikings' hands. So that was unfortunate. Kicker missing 2 field goals. That's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, it's a tale of 2 halves. You guys won the first half. We won the second half, and you guys just managed to hang on at the end.
What did you think about, and I know I mentioned this in Discord, and I'm not going to sit here and try and dog him like he's some bad player, but what did you think about the almost incessant nature of just targeting Dontavian Wicks? Is it Dontavian or Dontravian? Whatever his name is. It seemed, I don't know if it felt forced or if that was just always the guy open because of how we were defending you guys, but how did you as a Packers fan feel about that? Especially after it seemed like there were a couple drops early.
Yeah, I mean, he had a couple drops early, and then I think that he was just open. I think like that. I think it was like week 2 or something. They showed a separation score, and it was like one of the top in the leagues. So he gets separation, which is what you want, and he gets open. He just had a couple drops early, which is unfortunate. And then, we talked a little bit about the overturning of the calls, and they even said it in the broadcast: keep it as it's called on the field, because if it can go either way, it should stay. That's not enough to overturn. So that stunk because those 2 went your guys' way. But then that interception that McKinney got was definitely not an interception. And I'm not ashamed to say that. So, that was kind of a makeup, I would say, to that. And yeah, you're going to get, you'll get the extremes on both ends where the Packers feel like they got jobbed and the Vikings feel like they got jobbed, even though they got the win. It's whatever. I do think that if the Packers would have just came out and laid an egg in the second half, I would be in Canada probably right now. And so it was it stunk. Dontavian Wicks getting the 14 targets that he got, that just goes to show that he was my stud pick for the year. And it's one of those things like, yeah, I try to tell you guys.
Who, maybe if you don't know this, that's fine. But do you happen to know who had the second most targets and how many targets that was, or do you have no idea?
I think might have been Tucker Kraft. It might have been a tie with Tucker Kraft and Jaden Reed, because Tucker Kraft, everybody says Musgrave might be is the starting tight end, but Tucker Kraft is the better tight end. And so I'm trying to pull it up here. Kraft had 9 targets. Jaden Reed Jordan Love threw the ball 50 sometime. Jaden Reed had 8 targets. So yeah, Tucker Kraft was the second.
Interesting. Okay, so it wasn't maybe as dramatic as a drop-off as I thought it could have been. So that's interesting as well.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact Dontavian Wicks isn't owned in a ton of leagues, that is kind of an interesting thing, especially if
how much fab would you spend on him this week? Like, do you think that'll be a continuing trend, or do you think that was just a fluke?
I mean, he had 3 targets week 1, 4 targets week 2, 2 targets week 3, 13 targets week 4. So that, I think it was just more game planning. To me, it might be, with Christian Watson out, it might be a little bit more of a trend, but it also might not. It might also be an Isaiah Likely situation where he gets 13 targets for the next 3 weeks as well.
Okay.
Or combined.
All right. And then I promise I'm not trying to put you on the spot too much, but I definitely think it's much more interesting for you Actually, Walter's asked us a question, so let's go to that first. Walter's asked, tell us how you feel about Josh Jacobs. 4 weeks into the season, he was your big, I won't say your big offensive side or your big offseason signing. That's probably not fair, but certainly going out to get Josh Jacobs was a splashy move, especially considering Aaron Jones at that point in time was still on the team. 4 weeks in, Josh, of the season, of course, you're not going to sit here and badmouth Josh Jacobs, but how do you feel about that? Do you think Josh Jacobs was worth it? And how, what are your feelings as a Packers faithful?
Man, I like him. He's doing solid. I mean, kind of hard to base it off of the Minnesota game, considering they threw the ball 50 sometimes. I think he only got 9 carries. So he's productive when he needs to be, and that's kind of all you need. Yeah, do I want Aaron Jones back? Absolutely, but I've always loved Aaron Jones. I still love Aaron Jones. So it's whatever. Aaron Jones loves Green Bay too. He wrote a letter to us saying thank you. And I'll always have a G on my heart. And I'm pretty sure that Paul Allen read that and probably died.
He might have. And I will. What I said in Discord, I'll say again on the airwaves, just to make it official. The crucial catch shirts that the Packers had specifically, those did look pretty baller. Like, I saw a bunch of other teams' ones, and they looked much more generic, I think, because their logos are a little bit more spicy than just the Packers G. Your guys' shirts, or your guys' crucial catch logo did look pretty cool. I just want to put that on the record because it's on my mind. And of course, I could sit here and talk about the Vikings, and I will for a couple minutes, maybe. But what are your, as the outsider, Josh, probably giving a much more fair take on what the Vikings have done so far, going 4-0. Of course, we looked the most mortal in this Packers game, as we were seemingly begging you guys to win it at the end there. What is your perspective on the 4-0 Vikings? What do you think our ceiling is? And do you think we can maintain the success we found in the first 4 weeks? Brad said we're going undefeated.
Yeah, so did Nick Swartzen, and everybody knows he's a genius. So, no, I don't know. It's hard to say, because obviously any given Sunday, you guys dominated I wouldn't say you dominated the Niners, but you guys beat the Niners. Granted, was that the week that Debo got hurt or was missing? Or no, it wasn't. He got hurt that week, I think. I don't know. And no CMC, but Mason's doing good. So that was a good win for you guys. And then the Houston Texans came out and laid an egg, which can happen, but you guys got the win. Yeah, like you said, this was kind of the most damning week for you guys, just based on the performance in the second half. Even I saw something popped up on a Reddit where Grenard or whatever, however you pronounce his name, hard for green, I think is how it's said in some languages.
Nice.
But he said that they're calling it an L because of how much they gave up in the second half. So I don't know. I do think that the funny stat line that made me chuckle and go, maybe history, or maybe time is a flat circle, is the last time the Vikings were 4-0 to start a season was 2016, I think. And then I think they had a week 5 game and then the bye. And so if you guys go 5-0 and you enter the bye,
gets slaughtered, Josh.
Yep. And then we all know how that went. So I'm just like, you know what? Maybe time is a flat circle, and we can get that. We can have that repeat itself, because that would just kind of make my day.
Well, I appreciate your perspective, Josh. And of course, as a Vikings fan, I'm excited about it. And I want, it's just the same thing I just talk about every year with fantasy, is like, you know what? We're probably not as good as we're probably not as good as our record would indicate we are. Do I think the law of averages will get us back? I absolutely do. Do I think we're a Super Bowl contending team? I absolutely don't. But I am trying my very best. I failed at this last year, so I'm trying to improve. I'm trying my very best to just ride the high of the Vikings are fucking 4-0, and we're playing pretty good football, and we've beat 3 pretty darn good teams. In the past, pretty much everyone had the Texans, the Packers, and the Niners all as playoff teams going into the season. And I know it's early, but to be able to somewhat convincingly beat 2 of them and still come out ahead on the third, that feels pretty good as a Vikings fan, and I will continue to enjoy it. I think the thing that makes me one of the most sad is the thing that makes me one of the most sad is that our bye is so early. I think that is not to our benefit to have such an early bye, but that's out of our control. So you just gotta keep rocking. But Bradley asked a question in the chat. Let me grab it real quick. Or no, Walter said something. Walter said, tell us how you feel about, or no, in Flores, I trust. If we don't have at least 10 wins this season, something went very wrong. Do you think that's a fair take, Josh, based on starting 4-0?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you could end up with an injury. Like if Sam Darnold gets hurt and you have to put in Jaron Hall. That's, one thing. If Sam,
I wonder what Joe Webb's up to.
He's hopefully not doing what Eddie Lacy's doing.
Maybe we could get P-Riv off that Alabama sideline.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, Flores started off hot last year too. Now, granted, he does have much better players on his defense, but if they're going to get gassed out because of the amount of blitzes, even though I think they're blitz, I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting if, staying the best ability is availability. And so that's a big thing. And it's kind of awkward that Jamie sent a text message to about the wedding gag gift for a wedding that I'm not invited to. So that's fun.
That's between you and Megan, brother. That's nothing to do with us.
But so that is, yeah. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, there's still a lot of season left. You guys got 2 more guaranteed wins because you play the Bears. So there's that. But yeah, we'll see.
All right. And then, Josh, for just a moment, I genuinely promise we'll let us go here, but let's transition for just a second into the Hidden Oaks Overdose Political Players podcast. Are you excited for this J.D. Vance and Tim Walz debate that's about to happen? And how do you feel? How's it going to go? Who's going to win?
Well, I think that if they had to go down to fisticuffs, it's just going to be an L for both because they're old men and they should probably have heart attacks. I don't know. I don't like either of them. So there's that.
You don't like our governor, brother? You don't have loyalty to our state?
I mean, the best thing that man could do is build his last name around himself and then put a lid on it.
I hate everything that you're. Walter's had a good little line in the chat here. He said, "Red, blue. I'd rather bleed purple," and I think that's the perfect way to end the podcast. Josh, thank you so much for being here. Bradley and Walters, thank you so much for joining us. I am gonna go watch that debate myself, but we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye, everybody. Josh, hit your Go Packers.
Go Packers.
Bye, everybody. See you on the debate stage. Let's go, Walz. You have to root for Walz because he's the Minnesota boy.
I mean, I don't have to.
But you're gonna, because I say it.
I saw him downtown St. Paul after the George Floyd incident, beating up cops and breaking windows.
That's not how I remember it, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. But yeah, no. All right, so I will be going now. Bye. Go Packers.
Bye. Let's go, Walters. Nice. Bye, everybody.